advantage of that. And to your point, when that tank sunk down in the street, everybody in the audience at the press conference lost it. That was amazing.
Yeah.
I think I actually might spend my rounds camping out and waiting for a tank to come just to have that moment. So have you gotten a chance to play it all on the show floor?
I played a little bit, yes. I played a lot when I was home,
Yep.
Obviously before the show floor, and I've been in interviews more or less all the time, but I played a couple of rounds. One of the things that we are working hard on, and then I think based on the feedback that we're getting here from the show floor, is we may have to be a little bit more clear with that, is on the levolution side. You just talked about those pillars where you take them down and the tank falls into it. We have to be able to tell the players what parts of the map is destructible and what others aren't, because we could, in theory, make the whole map fully destructible, but trust me, that wouldn't be a fun game.
Right.
Because that would change the gameplay so much that it would be unbalanced and difficult to play. So what we have to do is to figure out where we want destruction and why it makes sense in that particular place, and then tell the player in a very, frankly, smart way, and kind of a graphical language, but also kind of an interactive language to make him understand that this is a destructible piece, and that you can decide to take out or not. That's something that, so what I'm trying to say is, when we're here, this is not just us showing the game at the booth. This is a very good litmus test for us to see what works and what doesn't. It's like an early alpha for us where we can actually look at stuff and say, okay, we have to improve these 10 things, and we can then go home to Sweden and continue honing the game.
I think that's what's really interesting about it as well. Like, anytime you guys do these alpha tests or these beta tests, you're actually watching what players are doing and making sure that it's okay. Because if you guys spend every day with the game, and I'm sure the way that you play is much different than the way that guy that just bought the helicopter. Yeah. Some people might actually learn how to fly helicopters.
Yeah. I try to avoid that.
I try to avoid flying helicopters too, because I do that.
So what people don't understand, during all these matches, we pull a bunch of data and telemetry. So we will know how many bullets got fired, where people spent their time on the map, choke points on the map, frankly, what weapons they use the most. We will have so much data coming out of this that we're going to use to make the game better. So, in a way, we should thank all the people that come here and play it. And again, that's how we, frankly, run our whole game service after launch too. We continue to monitor the game on a daily basis and pull data to understand what works and what doesn't work. When you make a game, not everything you do will work, and not everything you do will be good. So what's important for us is to find those not so good things and correct them as quickly as possible.
And I think the Reddit community and the Facebook community and the Twitter community have done a really good job at that. We have one of the best, most organized communities that I've ever seen, because they'll write essays. They're like, here's why I feel like this tweak should be made, and it's great reading all of those.
Yeah, and frankly, I read a lot of those too, and what strikes me is you get some of the kind of troll comments, so this is just dumb, I hate this, which some people may do, but it doesn't really help us. But I find it interesting that people take the time and energy to write insightful, smart feedback, and trust me, the people in the studio read those comments, and they listen to them, and sometimes they will yield in a change, and sometimes they won't, because maybe that's how we intended it to be. But at least that's I think that's where the power of the community is so big. Unfortunately, we don't get a whole lot out of DICE are a bunch of idiots, they shouldn't be doing it this way. That doesn't really help us, but the constructive feedback will make the game better. And I think that's on an ongoing basis. And that to me is, do you see that? He just knifed him.
Oh,
that's
man, nice.
So cool.
That looks awesome. I think, I really do enjoy going to the office and seeing everybody's feedback. So kind of changing gears a little bit, the Frostbite engine, Frostbite 3 is absolutely amazing. So amazing so that EA is starting to embrace it as a technology, and we're starting to see it pop up in some different franchises. Can you talk a bit about EA's decision to invest heavily in the Frostbite engine?
I mean, it's relatively simple. 6-7 years ago, the EA Games label, which I now oversee, had 11 different engines. And when you have 11 different engines, one can argue that it's difficult to make all of them great. You just can't. And then you don't have any benefits of having 11 different engines, because every single studio will